We're not going to do this just by brute force and have to fight every month to be able to replicate. We're going to actually extract the value that we found in our learnings from the last 3 months and put together some systems and some architecture in place to make this sustainable and to flow even more to us. Because if that was generated just out of sheer force and muscle,
force of will, yeah,
what's possible that we could generate with replicating the system that did that without having to put that force of will into it?
I am extremely excited because in this particular episode, we are talking about, Paul, your journey.
My journey.
Your
Paul's
journey. Paul's journey. So I'm excited for that here in a minute. But before we get started with that, welcome to our space where we connect, where we challenge, where we co-create. I'm Ed.
And I'm Paul. And this is the Thought Partners podcast. And I am excited to be here with you once again. Ed, thank you so much for continuing to play in this sandbox with me and just hitting record and seeing where it goes. I really enjoy it, and I appreciate doing it with you.
I appreciate that. And one of the things that I'm excited about is I want to hear about your journey as a franchise owner, as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I don't think we've had an opportunity to really explore. And I'm excited that when I sent that idea over, you said, yes, check box, let's do that. So I'm excited for this opportunity.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, because a lot of the time that we spend after hitting record is either chatting about a particular topic or learning as much as we can from another thought partner. And I appreciate you asking me about my journey because it's been a big change in the past year, coming off of almost 10 years in a corporate role. I have transitioned to entrepreneurship, and through some incredible coaching and an amazing support team of people around me, I found my way to a franchise system, from which I bought a territory and suddenly became the owner of a franchise.
Suddenly, it just happened.
And it's been a big change for me. It's been a big shift in how and where I spend my time, the way in which resources become available or stop becoming available or change. As I've said in other conversations, we know how much humans love change, and I've had a lot of change in the past year. And so it hasn't always been easy, and it also has been fun, as much as it's been exhausting and emotional. And that's just the business part of it. I'm not even getting into the rest of my life, which, yes, there is life outside of being a business owner.
That's something I want to come back to, because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Business owner or someone who works in a particular company, someone who is a person who works remotely. I think it's a struggle that many people have that they can relate to. But before we get to that, I'm curious if you would walk us through that timeline. What is that? Where's that moment where you went from I'm Paul, the person who has worked in corporate America for 10 plus years, to I am a business owner? Like where's that timeline? Where did that start for you? Where does that really become real for you?
So I ended my corporate work the end of July. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's now April. So 9 months ago now, almost. And purchased the franchise territory in October. So August,
Okay.
September, October, about 3 months in.
So about a
Um,
90-day span or so.
yeah, there was not a lot going on in the world of W-2 job hunting, at least not at that time. Who knows when someone's listening to this? Maybe the job market will have changed dramatically. I know that
I
my
hope for
company,
many of my friends it has.
I know that my company has added a few numbers to those reports, as we are now we are north of 20 employees at my company right now.
So that's interesting because I'm curious about whether that was the design or whether that was just blossoming. But we can swing back around to that after
It
you.
was a little bit of both because here's the thing. So, and I would say that maybe went quickly because I happened to find something that really fired on all cylinders. Um, it met a lot of skills. It met a lot of needs that I knew I had around me in my network and for a team of people to be able to leverage. Um, and so I think I would say I moved pretty quickly. And being that kind of person that I am that loves improv and will just jump in and try something, it was a big jump. And I don't know if I'd recommend it to everybody to go that quickly. But I saw an opportunity and I grabbed it and I listened to signals and I sort of pay attention to the signals that are around me of what am I not noticing or what am I noticing? And I found and explored this franchise that had a really strong system. It wasn't just the framework. It wasn't just the things that companies put on the walls about their vision and their mission.
Or the
Um,
things they have to do for compliance purposes, so that type of thing.
right. It was a system that had obviously been refined for over 15 years at that point. System started in 2009, and has been being refined nationally by different territory owners between then and when I got to it in 2025. And it was really impressive. And franchise systems in general, but just speaking from my experience, they give you a system, they give you a brand, they give you permission to charge forward and leveraging the system that they've created, leveraging the network, leveraging the tools that come with it. Um, and they give you all that. It's like I saw it as business in a box. That was my experience, at least.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've frequently heard from folks who are exploring franchises or have looked in this space. It's like there's almost for some folks, there's almost a negative attachment to the words business in a box or business easy button to steal someone else's branding. Um, but it was not that experience for you. I'm curious if you what would you say to those folks who are like, "Yeah, it's just a business in a box?"
I would say that
Because you used it in a positive way. I'm just echoing that
I did.
I've heard it in most of the time I've heard it from the other side.
I did. And it's because I'm so grateful for all of the resources and the system that was provided. Like that. And one of the things that I'm learning and I'm able to say now, 3 months into operating, which by the way, January, February, March are closed. We are currently in April. I opened the business officially in January. So we were open for business in January. Um,
So you're in your first 90 days with 20 people under your tutelage. Is that
yeah,
what I'm hearing?
yes, that's correct. And we have run 4 sales and we have a 5th one this Saturday. And in the franchise agreement, new franchise owners are not required to run any sales for the first 30 days and are only expected to and only charged their franchise fees after 30 days. And so yes, I moved very quickly. It's just who I am and it's just how I roll and it's how I operate, and not everybody can do it and not everybody has the
Well,
incredible network and the incredible like
yeah.
people around me that I do that have jumped on and jumped in, including, my aunt who ran the POS for me at a couple of the sales, and some other folks. But yes, we are going into our 5th sale this weekend. We are having a lot of success. Things are starting to hum and ramp up a little bit. And part of that is because I have hired a bunch of people. And if that's not just to do the work, though, of staging and pricing and setting up a sale,
Yeah, I think
I provide a service that a lot of people have needed, need, or will need, that they don't know that they need it until they need it. I meet people who are in transitional moments in their lives. And for one reason or another, whether it's um, a death in the family, or it's a job loss, or it's a divorce, or it's empty nest and the kids have moved out and the family had a big house, but now they're going to downsize to a motor home. And suddenly,
talking about change and shaking up the world.
yes, and suddenly these folks find themselves in a position where they have a house full of what houses are full of when people live in them for decades, right?
All the things.
All of them, all each and every little treasure that we leave, these books, these hats, all of these little treasures, nobody
Some
else in the world
newspaper from
necessarily
20 years
have
ago. Oh, Forky.
wants to have my Forky holding my green Herman bear. Like people, we have these little treasures, these little meaningful things to us that make our spaces our home, right? And now suddenly we don't we can't keep it anymore.
We're suddenly in a moment of redefinition.
We're suddenly in a moment of redefinition. And what do we do with all of it? How do we even go about doing this? Where do we start? And we help with that. We listen to their story and get a sense of what's going on with them. We meet them with kindness and compassion and awareness that they're going through a transitional moment. And then we help them figure out some solutions to the problems that they have. And we help them with categorizing or coordinating what's there, um, identifying what's in those boxes in the garage that their parent left behind, by sorting through and helping them figure out and extract value from what's in the house and say, this person was a coin collector, or this person always sought out these exact kind of 14 karat gold charms, or this person you can tell a lot about a person's life from going through their house and seeing how they lived, right? And so we extract value, and we either just help them move or downsize and figure out disposition of all of the things. And that's another part of what we do is we work with our community, and we have community partners who are always looking for furniture for homes that they have for autistic children, or they're looking for electronics that can be fixed, that because they teach a class on how to fix electronics. Or there's people there, there's like 8 billion people in the world, right, Ed? I may have said this to you once or twice, but there's like a lot of humans in the world, and there's a lot, they like all sorts of different things, right? And so the idea is to save as much as we can from the landfill, rehome, find new homes for it. One of the ways that we do that is we run estate sales, and we'll run an estate sale, and there's a whole community of estate sailors. If you just go on to estatesales.net, and you can see that there's a whole community of estate sailors. And I'm telling you, they show up. The first sale that we ran back in January, I was so nervous that nobody was going to come. Hundreds of people came. Nobody knew who I was. They just knew that there was an estate sale, and I published it. How did I know to publish it? Because my franchise system gave me the recipe. They said, do this, do this, do this, do this, and the people will come and you will have success. What they don't give you is how to actually lead that process. They they don't give you how much founder capital will be absorbed as you're building the operating system. They expect you as an owner, and that's one of the things that you bring to the table as an owner, to go make it work in that territory. Go meet the people that you need to meet, have the conversations you need to have, and generate. Here's the recipe. Here's the business in a box. If you find a client who needs these services, do it this way. I don't have to go guessing. I don't have to. I did have a lot to
Making
learn.
mistakes.
The training was very intense. It was a 3-week long intensive training that gets you certified of a year of the Association for Estate Liquidators. That normally you have to have a year of experience to join, but after the 3-week intensive, you learn a lot. And I'm still learning, and that's the thing, is that we're learning with each one. We're learning as we go, and I'm learning where I need to let go and get out of the way of people who are so excited about this and who want to do this. And that's my team, that's my staff. And so they don't teach you that part. They tell you, like, you follow these steps, and they give you the system. That's all great. So what I would say to someone who has a negative feeling about business in a box is, the box is only as good as what you do with it. Uh, John, I'm a Maxwell certified trainer, and I have a lot of John C. Maxwell books, right? And one of the stories that John Maxwell tells at his conferences is that he went into this one executive important person's office, and the important person was showing him I have all of your books here, John. And John was like, that's great. And the guy stepped out or something, and he went to go look at them, and none of them had been opened. No one read those books. And he was like, what good is having the book on your shelf if you haven't actually read it and applied it? If you can't speak to anything that's in the books, what's the point in having the book? It's just having the book, right? So like, any business in a box, yeah, it is just a business in a box. If you just let it sit there, it's, what do you do with it? What's the application from theory to practice? That's the part that they don't teach you necessarily, because if you're coming in and you're buying a business, there's kind of I guess, an expectation that you're going to figure that out. That's your job. That's my job.
Or you've already figured it out
I don't know. I don't know what
in some other form.
the only thing I have
So
figured out is that I'm not doing it to be a millionaire. I don't I don't think billionaires should exist anyway, but I'm doing it because it is something that I know that I'm good at. It's something that I know I have a lot of good people around me who can do. It's a service that people need, even if they don't want it or they don't know that they need it. It is and it is a way to flow resources to me and through me, not just to me. So when I talk about the resources coming in, I'm out there hunting for a W 2 job and I'm trying to find someone who will agree to guarantee me an amount every other week to hang around and be part of their whatever
that thing that they're doing, yeah.
game they're running, so that I can then at least know that I'm at least gonna have that, and then I'm gonna put all my energy into that. That I don't, it won't ever be much more than that. Um, and so that's all just me concerned about that flowing to me, and it doesn't leave a lot to flow through me. And this perspective, my new perspective as an entrepreneur, is that this is also an opportunity to flow resources to and through. And that's not just money, that's also these items that would go into a landfill. They go right into a trash can. And a lot of them do. Most of them do. Most of them will call a junk hauler and just clear it out and it goes into a dumpster. And so our service looks to extract value, get the community to buy some of it, find new disposition and a new home for a lot of it, and save as much as we can from the trash.
Join the Rumble. The Thought Partners podcast is now on Substack. Head over to substack.com at Thought Partners Podcast or scan the QR code on screen. This is your chance to interact with the show, complete some of the great exercises we design in real time, and post your thoughts about what upcoming episodes could look like. At the intersection of creativity and career, it's the Thought Partners podcast.
It takes a great amount of discipline to stop myself from just keeping on doing. There's always something that could be done. Is always something to be done. That's the story that's in my head, right? That's the story that I tell myself, is like there's always more to be done. There is always things that I could be doing. And yet I have a family, I have family, I have loved ones, I have relationships that are important to me. I have
Goals,
um
passions, interests.
oh yeah, I have other passions, interests. I have academic pursuits. I'm still pursuing my doctorate in business strategy and innovation. And I have dogs who need to be walked. I have I have other things, right? And it takes a lot of discipline to pull myself away from or to not be working all the time. And sometimes I'm better at it than other times. I stepped away and I went away for a week, and I there was still activities that were going to be taking place with the team while I was gone. There was a consultation that the team asked me if they could go to since I wasn't going to be here, that they did do. Um, and there was talk of them getting ready for the sale. Now, in addition to discipline, there has to be a lot of self-compassion and patience on the other end of that. Because inevitably, one of the things that will happen is you will learn from stepping away what you can and can't step away from, and what becomes a fire or what gets dropped. And you do have to be okay with that. You have to find ways to um accept that sometimes a ball's going to get dropped, or sometimes something's not going to get done, or it's not going to get done the way you would have done it, or um you
Kind of
know
like the close enough principle.
like the close enough
The
principle.
close enough principle.
Tell
It
me
was
about
done. Even if it was only done at 75% of what I would have done, it's still done, and I don't have to do it. So close enough.
that. Hmm.
It's a tough lesson. In fairness,
Yes. So I think we're dancing around this whole, I think there have been times when it's been called work life balance or work life integration, or like as if there's like,
there's a switch, right? You just push the button.
yeah,
No,
it's
that's
hard
not
to
how it
do
works.
though, especially when so much of it is invested. So I would say to someone
Yeah.
who is um in that space, it is very easy to get pulled into the river. It's very easy to get sucked in and to let the current just pull you in, and then all the things you were trying to control are useless because now you're drowning and now you're just like floating in a river, right? So like there is an element of um remembering that it's a process and knowing that it's a process and asking for help and finding the humility to not always have to be productive. We don't always have to have the answer right away. We don't always have to have figured out what the learning was. It's the reflection that matters. It's the acknowledging, accepting, and addressing of things that matters. And so um, I did choose to step away, and I chose to slow down a little bit after 3 months of intensive starting. Like I hit the accelerator and threw gas on the fire and went in full on. And for the first 3 months, I'm very proud of what we did. The danger of that, though, is that it needs to be sustainable, and it needs to be able to be repeated. It needs to be able to be replicated. It needs to be able to become a system in order for it to actually not just burn me out. Right. And so that mindfulness, that ability to pause and reflect and think about what's sustainable, what can we go forward doing, where was I just pushing, and you could look at the results and say, but look, the results are so good, like, no one else had their first 3 months like this, or
But
you're you
there's the mistake right
you
there.
you you generated as much as
Yeah.
someone who's been open for 4 years, and it's like, yes, but
However,
the yes, and there was a lot of unforced errors and luck that went into that came out of just pushing really hard. And I don't want it to always feel like you have to push and grind that much. And so I took a pause. I stepped away. I went to my family event. That was the reason I had to go away for a week. And I came
the
back,
reason
and
you
I'm
chose,
3 days in to being back, and it is a conscious, and it's not easy, but it's a conscious effort to say we are not going to just push, and we're not going to do this just by brute force and have to fight every month to be able to replicate. We're going to actually extract the value that we found in our learnings from the last 3 months and put together some systems and some architecture in place to make this sustainable and to flow even more to us. Because if that was generated just out of sheer force and muscle.
Force of will. Yeah. So for me, the ripples as the rock goes into the pond,
Yep.
the main one that I'm hearing from you is it isn't getting it right that first time. It's not that. It's how do I create the culture that getting it right isn't the goal, it's the nice to have. And I think my perspective is you are the person to do that based on what I've known about you for a long time, which is that you are a people builder and that you not only engage on a level with people that they sometimes don't even see the capacity in themselves to be able to do, but also that networking, that storytelling, that resonance is the secret that's in that recipe that is Paul Tonden.
Well, thank you. And it is also in each and every person. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I had a very close friend and colleague um, that I met with this past week who was nervous about going into a session that she was supposed to be leading. And she was like, I don't know enough about it. I'm not an expert in that framework. And I challenged her I validated that she's not an expert in that framework, that particular language, and reminded her of what she is good at and what are the transferable things that she does bring to that. And where is there overlap with something that she already does feel confident in? Because I may have said once or twice, the methods are many, but the principles are few. And I continue to bring myself back to the principles of courage and discipline and justice and wisdom and or whatever 5 things that a company puts on their wall. Like you can go back to the principles. Is it integrity? Is it curiosity? Is it um uh, economic mobility? Like what is it? Or what are the things that are the principles, and then work the framework around it.
Well, my friend, I appreciated the guided tour of your journey. I hope that our listeners also not only had the chance to listen to some really good stories, but to take some things from today's conversation that they might be able to use to frame their own journeys. The one that stands out to me is that success that you think you're chasing, that thing that you may achieve, it's the how you got there. It's the things that created the path, the stepping stones that make the difference. And that's my takeaway from your journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed. I really appreciate that. And I do believe that there's abundance out there. And I am in the game of prosperity for all.
Not
And
Monopoly.
um, I am I'm appreciative of the conversation. And I don't know if listeners got anything out of what I had to say or not, but I would love to hear if they did. I would love for them to send messages and let us know, or even maybe raise their hand and ask to join us on a podcast sometime, because If there's one thing I love learning about, it's humans. And the more of them I meet, the more fascinated I am by them. So thank you for doing this with me. Thank you to our listeners for listening. And please remember to take care of yourselves and each other.